All right, everybody, let's take a look at how we can do some fractions on our TI-84CEs. And so there'll be times when you might have something you need some fractions on, and it might give you decimals for answers. So let's say I was doing 252 and I was dividing it by 5. I might get a decimal like 50.4, and I might want that not as a decimal, but I might want it as a fraction. So for us to get fractions on these calculators, we have to use a catalog of functions under this math catalog. So there are some buttons you'll click, like if you click mode, it'll take you into a screen that looks like this. We should never change our mode. We should always leave this on. Please don't make any changes to it. So if you ever get to a screen like this, you're like, whoa, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. There's a couple ways you can get back. Clear will always get you back. So if you just hit clear, so if you're in a screen you're not supposed to be at clear, it'll get you back. If you're in a screen also that maybe you don't want to be in, you can also go second mode, which is second quit. Quit gets you out of programs and things. So if you're in a program, second and then quit will get you back to the home screen as well. But the one we're going to use for fractions is under this math catalog. So on the left hand side you have math, apps, programs, and then some statistics stuff. So we're going to go under the math. And under math, you're going to see a set of things at the top. Math, numbers, complex, probability. So if you use the right arrow, you can see at the top it's kind of changing. And so one of the things we can do is we can change something to a fraction. So whenever there's this arrow, it says take whatever you have and change it to a fraction. Or take whatever you have and change it to a decimal. Take whatever you have and raise it to the third power. Take the cube root of it. Take any root of it. And then there's some other ones that we use for like calculus and stuff. So if we want to change it to a fraction, again, I'm at my screen, I have 50.4 and I want to know what it is as a fraction. I can hit the math button and then I'm going to hit, I want to change the fraction. So you can either hit the number 1 because it's the first thing in here, or you can just hit enter because you can use the arrow keys and scroll up and down. So I want the fraction. So I'll hit enter and it says take your answer and change it to a fraction. And it'll tell me that fraction is 252 over 5. Now if I get a fraction answer and I want to change it to a decimal, I can always hit math again. And then instead of changing it to a fraction this time, I'm going to change it to a decimal. So you can use the math feature and say I want to change that back to a decimal. You can also change fractions from mixed numbers and improper. So again, if I have math fraction, and it gives me 252 over 5. That's the improper. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. If I want to get it so it's a mixed number, I can go back into math. And now I got to look for where it kind of shows something that might show a mixed number. And so if you look over here, we have a fraction setting. So I'm going to use the right arrow. I'm going to use the right arrow right here to get over to the fraction setting. And then I have n over d, un over d, f over d, and then n over d. So n is numerator over denominator, that's fractions. Fraction to decimal, and then we can try this, which is going to take our answer from improper, numerator over denominator, to the mixed number, the un over d. And so there's a couple ways you can do it. And again, if you wanted to go back, you could say, I want to convert, this will convert you back and forth. And I'm not even sure, let's see what it would work if we just went right to this one. Oh, that lets you type in a mixed number. All right. And so if you ever need to type in a mixed number, you could go into math fractions. And this is how you could type in a fraction. If you wanted to type in a fraction, you could use that other button there, which you might have to do. So again, math. You can turn any answer into a fraction, or if you want to make a fraction on your own, you can come over here. And so let's say I want to make the fraction 15 over 5. Well, actually, that one reduces to 3, so that's fine. It looks like it's going to reduce for us automatically, but if I make the fraction, I don't know, 33 over 10, it looks like it's going to keep it as a fraction. And then I have these math buttons that I can say I want to change that into a decimal, or I want to change it back. So math is your keys that you're going to do, and so you can change back and forth. And if you want to enter fractions, you can go over to the fraction button and say, all right, so if you need to do like 3/5 plus 7/8, you could do math fraction. Over here we want fraction as n over d. This is mixed numbers, un over d. So I'm going to make, let's say, 7/8. Use the up down keys to get in the different parts of your fraction, and then when you're ready, just hit enter and it will do that math for you. If you want to see what that is as a decimal or fraction or mixed number, you can use the math and look over there. You can move over and look at all these. So under numbers we have absolute values, you have some roundings, mins, maxes, least common multiple looks like down there, greatest common denominator. So it'll do a lot of different math for you. Complex numbers we do in Algebra 2, probability we do in Algebra 2. So you're probably going to be mainly dealing with the fraction and the math keys there. So hopefully you have a better sense of how to type in fractions. And again, if you ever want to get out of here, you can hit the clear button or second quit, and that'll get me back to there. And then if you guys didn't know too, you can always use this up arrow here, and you can always go back to problems you've already looked at. So this always has like a history. So if you're like, what did I type at the beginning? And you want to scroll up, you can scroll up. Now once you hit clear here, it'll clear that history one at a time. So I can just start deleting out everything, so if it bothers you. But this is a great way to see what was typed in before you. And it'll keep going until you clear everything out. Now when I hit up, nothing's there. All right, so try out some fraction problems on your sheet, and let me know if you guys have questions.